Extracting movement-based topics for analysis of space use. Our goal is to divide the space into places and then support comparison of the places, examining patterns of movement between them, and relating places, movements, and attributes. To divide the space into places, we apply space tessellation algorithm from our earlier work. The method extracts characteristic points from trajectories, applies space-bound clustering to them, and builds Voronoi tessellation from cluster-medoids. After dividing the space into places, we can represent each trajectory as a list of visited places and as a list of moves between places. In such representations, trajectories can be treated as abstract documents. Respectively, topic modeling methods can be applied to them. This is an example of documents based on visited places on the left and on moves on the right. Let's give a short introduction to topic modeling. Existing methods such as LDA on NMF extract topics that are characterized by weights of representative terms. Each method outputs two matrices, relating first topics to terms and second documents to topics. It is known that the methods are sensitive to inputs and parameters, including the considered vocabulary and the number of desired topics. So, how to determine the optimal number of topics? For this purpose, we run the selected method multiple times within the plausible range of parameter values. All runs produce topic terms matrices relating topics to the same set of terms. Respectively, we concatenate all these matrices and produce a common embedding of all topics by TSNE. Using this embedding, we interactively inspect positions of different runs against overall patterns, aiming at finding the run that covers major groups without repetitions. In this example, 21 topics is a good compromise in the range from 15 to 25 topics. After deciding about the optimal number of topics, let's study the properties of the obtained topics. The topics terms matrix relates topics to the terms. As we deal now with a place-based representation of trajectories, terms are places in the space. Respectively, we can inspect the distribution of topics over the space. To study the distribution of topics in the space, let us assign colors to them. We assign colors to the topics so that the similarity of colors denotes the similarity of topics. We use MDS embedding for this purpose. TSNE that we used on the previous step is less suitable as MDS preserves large distances better. Having an embedding, we distribute a 2D cube diagonal cut color map over it and then pick colors for the topics according to their positions in the embedding space. Generally, one term or place may be associated with multiple topics that have non-zero weights. To obtain an initial overview of the distribution of topics, we assign colors to places according to the topics with the largest weight. As you remember, topics are denoted by colors, and similarity of colors correspond to similarity of the topics. We can observe spatially coherent areas with the same dominating topic or similar dominating topics. We also observe smooth change of topics over the space and prominent patterns of major roads. However, looking exclusively at dominant topics may be misleading, as other topics may have large weights too. Pie charts on this map present compositions of topics in all places. Coloring of dominant topics and pie charts is consistent. This map shows us the composition of topics in all places. We observe catchment areas of topics and cross-border diffusion, which is expressed by mixing multiple topics in pie charts, for example here. To understand how to interpret this visualization, let us inspect the northwest of the territory. We observe two sequences of places with single color pie charts. This means that all cars in these sequences move straight. We also observe areas where several routes intersect. In the upper left corner, two routes come together. So far, we used the representation of trajectories as a list of visited places. Now let us explore the possibilities that are enabled by another representation, as a list of moves. Using the same interactive approach, we decided to analyze 30 topics after inspecting iteratively the range from 20 to 35 topics. Again, MDAS is used to assign colors to topics taking into account their similarity. Dominant topic for each flow is shown by color. Line width represents weights. In this map, we can observe that very often flows in opposite directions have very different colors. However, colors do not depend on direction in areas outside main roads. To understand which trajectories contribute to each topic and assess their properties, we interactively select a topic of interest. Flows with non-zero weights in the topic's terms matrix for the selected topic are shown on the map in white. Line widths represent weights. Contributing trajectories are selected based on non-zero weights in the document's topics matrix. These trajectories are rendered transparently in black. The map clearly shows their common properties. Most of them entered the area from northeast and follow the main road towards west. The small multiples map shows footprints of all 30 topics together. Topic colors are shown in the ribbons in the upper parts of maps. We observe symmetrical pairs of topics in opposite directions. Sometimes these pairs share similar colors. This means that these topics share many common terms that reflects shared catchment areas. So, let's summarize our approach. First, we create a space tessellation at the desired level of abstraction using data-driven methods. Second, we transform trajectories into sequences of visited places and moves between places. Third, we determine the optimal number of topics for both places and moves through iterative topic modeling, projecting the topics to a common embedding space and analyzing their distributions. Fourth, we analyze selected sets of topics for both places and moves. Finally, we integrate and synthesize knowledge acquired at steps 3 and 4. We achieve this goal by comparing and contrasting the topics of visits and the topics of moves, and using the results to gain insights into the spatial and temporal aspects of human mobility. Let's consider another dataset of vessel traffic in the area of Brest in France. We partitioned the space into places by applying the same data-driven tessellation method, and then followed the analysis procedure. First, we determined topics for place visits. Dominant topics for each place are shown by color filling the polygons. Compositions of topics for places are displayed by pie charts. Second, we determined topics of moves between places. Arrows represent moves between places. Different topics are shown by colors. Arrow widths represent weights of dominant topics for each move. By comparing topics of visits and topics of move, we can understand all variations of connectivity between places. In the paper, we describe how the proposed method was applied to a very large data set of road traffic covering a big part of UK. On this slide, we can see spatial distributions and compositions of topics of visits. Interestingly, we observe mostly regional patterns. Topics of moves also have regional character, with little to no directional patterns. In this use case, we observe that some moves are strongly associated with multiple topics. Coordination between place and move topics is very prominent. The proposed method is applicable beyond road and sea traffic as well. In this experiment, we analyzed both trajectory segments corresponding to each team's possession. The pies in the pitch compartments show the weights of different topics for these places, to which topics each place contributes. On this slide, we see groups of trajectories making each of the 12 topics for ball possession by the yellow team. The topics indicate the focus areas for the groups of trajectories. Here, 12 topics indicate the focus areas for the groups of trajectories of the red team. By comparing topics of attacks of the two competing teams, we can study and compare their tactical portfolio and understand which variants of tactical behavior were more successful in this game. Successfulness is indicated by the ball reaching the opponent's goal. Topics of moves also make sense for football data. However, detailed exploration of these topics is a subject for future work. The results of our approach are very promising. We were able to detect expected and discover the unexpected in several different applications. We also learned some lessons. The results of the analysis heavily depend on the number of topics selected. The number of topics for moves should be higher by a factor of about 2 compared to the number of topics for places visited. Dominant topics may conceal significant aspects of topic distributions. Therefore, analyzing the composition of topics for each place or move is crucial. The prominence of patterns is influenced by various factors, such as the properties of trajectories, the scale of analysis, and the selected topic modeling parameters. Further investigation is needed to quantify these dependencies and establish guidelines for appropriate parameter settings. Thank you.